Hello. Whoa. Ah, okay. I think we worked out as many bugs as possible. Thank you for holding on to us. So, welcome to the first episode of Uncle Marketing Live. You can tell it's live because we completely fucked up the beginning. So, for those who are joining live, thank you for taking time out of your day, for listening to. If you're listening on a recording, which comes out afterwards, we love you still, but I hope you'll join us live next time. And we would have worked out many of these issues. I wanted this to be live because I believe in engaging in real time. And if you want to chat from YouTube, you can do that. After our business case, I'll open it up for any marketing questions you all have. If you have any, pick my brain and I'm happy to respond to that. I'll even send you a link and you can appear on camera. I've cried hearing about remarkable businesses, those that leave me moved at their success. They're the ones that show how ordinary underdogs can get something done, and they do it with a lot of grit and hard work and innovation and being true to themselves. They have a mission to make something better for the world. If you have good to do as a society, we should embrace that momentum. That's why I get a little bit angry when someone has knowledge and doesn't cough it up. To me, it's like watching a person bleed while you sit on a stack of bandages, or they want to charge you hundreds of dollars an hour to stop your bleeding. Uncle Marketing Live is a way to get that knowledge to the businesses that need it while building connections. I want to create a community. I want a way to share and work together. So Uncle Marketing Live is also micro consulting. So businesses can make incremental progress without overhauling everything that they're doing or investing in areas they're not sure about. And you can go at your own pace, but you still get the benefit of guidance and encouragement that a good marketing consultant can provide. Uncle Marketing Live is also meant to cost a fraction of what you'd pay in the open market. And by the way, with AI, I think the entirety of the consulting space is going to change. But one thing AI doesn't offer is connection. It's still valuable, but the very first part of the term AI is artificial. And most of the business owners I know want real human connections. And honestly, I believe there's a real movement that could come from Uncle Marketing Live because there's a gap between meaningful consulting and those who can afford it. Imagine the smallest businesses with the fewest resources doing their best. That to me seems really worthwhile. And I'm certain we can find gems in the forest of the undiscovered, business stories that need to be fostered and celebrated. And maybe that's you. Maybe it's my guest today. Um, I want to introduce you all to uh, Derek Norris. He lives in Sacramento or Elk Grove, and he's just getting started on his business. Most importantly, he spells Derek the right way.
That's right.
And full disclosure, he's my bonus brother-in-law. So welcome, Derek Norris.
Thank you, Derek. I'm so excited to be here. Thank
Oh
you.
man, this is the first of many, I hope. So Derek, can you tell the folks about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, like you said, I live in Elk Grove, which is just borders Sacramento to the south. And my family and I have been here about 16 years, grew up in Sacramento. And I am in the midst of a career change at the age of 48, going on 49 this year. And with the immense support of all of my family, including Uncle Derek and all of the family on that side, I was supported, encouraged, and guided to leave my job of 17 and a half years doing pest control, which turned out to just be a job and did not go down a career path that I thought it would. And long days, aching body, and then went from small business to corporately owned over the past 2 to 3 years. Once it went corporate, I wasn't only tired in my body, I was tired in my soul, and it was showing at home. And so my wife wanted me home more. My kids are 10 and 8, and just need are a lot of emotional need at that age. So through a lot of discussions at family get-togethers, I was given the idea of taking what I love about my job, which is my customers and serving my community in a way that um, provides value to their life, and to try this thing called electrolysis, which is permanent hair removal. So I went down south, Southern California in Corona, and I went to the California Electrology Academy. Um, didn't know a thing about it, and I went down there for about 3 months. Spent a couple months up at home after I quit my job and did theoretical study, and then went down there to do the practical work with models that would come in and learn hands on. And it was a fabulous experience. I would leave the first couple weeks, kind of crying, missing my family, not knowing if I could even do this. And then after about a month, I have this group of new friends who are on the same journey. And we built this community that we have going now. After we've left school, we have text threads and things of to keep us just connected, because we're on this venture that is a very niche career. So we want to be able to celebrate each other and help each other out. So I graduated at the end of April, and now I'm home. And the plan is to open my own practice. And so I went from being afraid that I couldn't do electrolysis to, oh, I can do electrolysis, and oh, I'm quite good at it, and I'm enjoying it. And now I have all of the business to attend to of trying to open a business. And so uh, it made all the fear of learning this new trade very minuscule as I look ahead and try to manage my own time now. The plan is to be my own boss and make my own schedule, and that's a new thing. And all the startup that happens with trying to find where I'm going to be and get everything I need, and then also just getting my name out there and becoming part of my community in a different way. And that's its own challenge in itself. And so that's where I'm really excited to be here and a part of what you're doing.
Yeah, I uh thanks for sharing all of that. What's the what's the relationship, do you think, between pest control and hair removal?
Well, I would joke at school. I said, well, I went from killing insects and rodents to hair follicles. So I shrunk down in the size of what
Yeah,
I'm trying to get rid of. But
which is the root
not
of the problem.
jokingly, it for me, it all comes down to building those relationships with my clients.
Mm,
And there's a lot of communication to get the success that you want, whether it's in pest
yeah.
control or electrolysis. Um, Both are a long-term relationship. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know yet. In pest control, sometimes you can work yourself out of a job if you're too good, because people will say, "Oh, I don't have any ants anymore. I don't have any mice anymore," and then sometimes they'll stop their service, and then 6 months later they'll call back because they realize they live next to a field and a
Mm,
lake, and the reason they didn't see anything was, oh, you were coming every 2 months. So, in electrolysis, there's going to be expectations that customers are going to have, but you have to communicate how realistic your expectations should be, because it is a process. We're going hair by hair, and the hair grows at different stages, so we need to get it a certain stage for it to not grow back. And so it's just about finding what their needs are, helping them feel safe,
Yeah.
that this is a place for them, um, and then just walking that road with them to get to the results that they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like any marketing effort, the first the first thing we have to work on is like who the ideal customer is for your service. Um, in your mind, who is it that you want to serve? Who do you feel like you can serve right away? Um, and uh, and talk about those folks.
So through going to the school, I was trying to get an idea of what clientele might be the most, you know, looking for a service like that. And through the clients that were down in Southern California, it was a mixture. And a lot of it is, you have this desire to not have hair for whatever your reason is. Some of that might be medical, some of that might be personal preference, some of it might just be um, just, you know, well, I said personal preference, um, but the trans community right now is one of the communities I really want to be open and connected with. Uh, Under such attack right now as so many groups are, but to be able to have a space um, where they can come if they're getting ready for surgery, and have that. There's not a lot up in Northern California right now, not a lot of
Mhm.
electrolysis, and I don't think there's a lot of word and knowledge about who is here, because
Mhm.
opening my own, I'd researched, okay, who's around me, what's the closest, and compared to down south, it's not even close. I think it's starting to grow, come up to the Bay Area a little bit more, but it's still quite a niche area
Mhm.
in work that.
Right. Well, and particularly Elk Grove, I know because I grew up there.
Yeah.
It's pretty pretty like Midwest, I guess it would be the Midwest of California.
Yeah.
Very suburban, spread out folks, and um, uh, I wonder how challenging it will be to build that without, say, like uh, extended relationships that you have initially, anyway. Um, like people might be able to search for you online, which you should absolutely do from building out your digital real estate.
Hmm.
Um, but um, I'm willing to bet that more than 80% of your clients are going to come from some type of referral system. So have some ideas on that when you're ready. But uh, uh, it's always important though that even if you want somebody to refer you, it's identifying who those people are that you want to be referred. And it can't just be like, well, they have hair. They have to have a reason for wanting your service, and the means to pay for it, the means to commit time to do it. Because I mean, it's electrology. My understanding is like it can be a very time consuming process, right?
Yeah, it is. Like I said, it's a bit of a long-term relationship that you get into,
Hmm.
uh, because it's not like laser. Laser is temporary. Laser, is a faster process, but we're going hair follicle by hair follicle,
Mm,
but it's permanent. It's the only FDA approved permanent hair removal system. Um,
right.
so for me, looking for possible customers, clients,
Mhm.
um, uh, I just feel like I need to be out and
Yep.
touch all the parts of the community I can, be in, and go out to, make relationships with like like-minded businesses, whether I'm next to
Yeah.
a waxing place or a threading place or eyebrows, or just a barber.
Right.
As I look for salon suites, a lot of those are usually with the neighbors that you would have anyway. So having
Mhm.
that kind of community of small business, and also in the kind of beautician, other estheticians and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, but it's also paramedical as well.
Hmm.
We we do a run through health history just to make sure that you don't have any uh, situations that your health is dealing with where we wouldn't want to get like a doctor's approval before we started, or if it was just areas we had to be careful of because of certain health
Are
concerns.
are there risks to electrology?
No, but there are certain what we call contraindications. Is what the word that I learned at school. So we'll go through your health history, and if you're pregnant at at the time, we're gonna avoid maybe the belly area and the breast area.
Okay.
So there's just different things. If you're on, chemotherapy, if you know, if you've just got a sunburn,
Hmm.
I'm going to
Okay.
avoid that area. If you've got acne, there's kind of chronic, like long-term things, and there's like local things where it's like, okay, we're just going to avoid this area where you have a sunburn for now, and we can check back in a few weeks and see
Yeah.
how that part of the body is healing, because you know electrolysis is, it's kind of giving you a bit of minor trauma because you're killing that hair follicle, so it
Right.
takes a day or two for that area to heal, but there's no long-term uh, damage or scares or anything like that.
Okay.
It's just about finding the uh, right modalities to help get
Hmm.
that hair out and get it gone. So yeah, it's I've been talking with other students who left, friends, and they've just been getting started working on people. And so, what I've heard a lot of times is from school is a lot of the times you're going to be working on people's faces a
Hmm.
lot, a lot of surgery prep, um, but it's anywhere on the body. It's any hair type. It's any
Right.
skin tone. And so
Is that
I'm
Harley?
open. I'm open to any and everybody. And
Is that
so
Harley in the background? I can hear.
that's Harley. Yeah, you've got the chill dog. I've got the dog that would be on my lap if I let her right now. She wants to play ball.
That's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Um, so where are you kind of in the process of this of setting up the business now? Have you picked a name? I know we were talking about that for a while.
Uh, yeah. I I've kind of stuck with precision
Okay.
electrolysis. I might add like by Derek at the end of it.
Mhm.
I kind of see that trend where people add their name to it.
Yeah.
Um, it's not absolutely
Sure.
the name yet, but it's the one that I've landed on
Okay.
uh, that I'm okay with. If I needed to put a name out tomorrow,
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that. But I always like, is there a better name? Can I find a more,
Yeah.
a name with a little bit more pizzazz or a little bit more humor or something
Yeah. I
like
mean,
that?
it's always a trade-off because you
Yeah.
pick a name that exemplifies what you're trying to do, um, but it might not be the most memorable, um, and it might not spark anything emotional. It's
Yeah.
it's a very logical thing, which
Right.
is fine for like uh SEO purposes, or just when you say I'm, such and such, people know that that's what you do. So then the next question is, oh, how long you've been doing it and stuff like that. Um, or you have a wilder name that it's like, oh, what is that? And uh then it's a little bit more, then you have a longer conversation even like, well, this is what I'm thinking about. So it really depends. One way to think about it might be like, well, what does the client need in terms of uh their relationship to your business. It's like, do they just want kind of no frill uh relationship with um with the business, and they just come in, they get there, they get zapped, and then they move on?
Hmm.
Or do they want to be part of something a little bit more different?
Mm.
And you mentioned like the trans community, for example.
Yeah.
Those folks are, generally speaking, uh not extroverted, but they are more presented. And so should you also have a name that goes along with that, would appeal to them from that emotional side?
Hmm.
That's something to look at.
Yeah.
um and uh the other thing you could do, and I think we've talked about this before too, is like, you have your business name established, and then you can always roll a fictitious business name on top of it, if you want to create a brand, for example.
Hmm.
And so you could still like cash checks both ways, but the one you present out might be a little bit more uh, a little bit more of a grabber from that standpoint.
Yeah.
So stuff to think about. But once you have that picked out, the next step really is, we need to secure all the digital real estate, domain names, social profiles, start thinking about a website so you can start booking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then move into, signage and logos and things like that. Um, that can all kind of happen at the same time,
Okay.
but also it can be very fast. It could be like, oh, this is the name,
Hmm.
and in a week or two, you can have something up and running. So if you give yourself that kind of time frame, that once you have your name, we can start the entire process of the identity that goes with it, and how to tell your story, uh, and building more of a presence that way. So then you can have, a business card, so that when you do actually go end up networking with folks at community events or referral groups and whatnot, that you can tell them what you're doing, and they expect a card. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
this this is like 3 months of cards.
Oh
um
my gosh.
no, it's crazy.
Awesome.
So uh but you need to have that kind of marker anyway. um so the sooner you get that name, you don't I know you're waiting to um take the test, right? The final test, is that right?
Yeah, I'm waiting to get the date for the state exam, state board.
um the naming stuff can happen on top of that. It doesn't we don't have to wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you want to do that, then um I would say settle on the name as soon as possible, and then we can just move forward with everything else.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love some homework. So
Oh yeah.
settle on the name.
Yeah. uh and you don't even have to wait for like when you come back. You can just tell me. It's like, this is the name. It's like,
Right.
cool.
Just text you.
um Uh, uh, so then at that point, you'll need a location. I know you're working on that part of it. What are you thinking right now in terms of location?
So I spoke with you about the suite that I toured a
Mhm.
few weeks ago. So far as I know, that's still available. Last week, found another spot about 15 minutes from my house, 10-15 minutes. Um, and I've reached out, I've emailed, I've called, I've texted. I went by there today physically, and there's a sign on the outside that says, appointments only, no walk-ins. It's an eyebrow threat. I can peek in the door. I can see that there's multiple rooms. So there's a room for rent in
Okay.
this place where somebody's doing eyelashes, somebody's doing this. So I'm pushing and knocking on the door
Yeah.
physically, and seeing if I can get somebody to give me some details about the size, the cost, what's included,
Right.
because that's my other option as I continue to search. So I've got those two right now as I continue to look online, drive
Right.
around, trying
That,
to ideally find something in Sacramento or Elk
yeah.
Grove area that isn't too crazy far.
Yeah. I mean, the
So
truth is, and folks who don't live in Northern California, and for something like this where people have to make an explicit go,
mhm,
it doesn't necessarily need to be in like a high foot traffic place, like a
mhm.
shop or cafe needs to be.
Yeah,
This is it can be a little bit more out of the way as long as like there's enough parking and it's not they don't charge you $10 to park and stuff like that, right? So
yeah,
and then you being convenient enough so that you can get home, pick up the kids, you know, take them to soccer, and then do another round after soccer or something like that, right?
right. Yeah,
It gives you enough home life flexibility or work life flexibility that you can manage that part of it. And then it's like based on your reputation and growing that people want to come back to you that way.
right.
Uh, and then they'll travel with you no matter where you go. Ideally, once as long as like not I'm moving to Denver, or even the Bay Area, right? So it is maintaining. You're gonna have to maintain some kind of footprint, but
Mm,
like the actual location, as long as it's not icky and it doesn't feel unsafe,
right.
then you're probably okay.
Yeah,
Wherever that is, and at least this for this first opener, right? The
yeah.
the the sweet salons that we've talked about, they're great because it's usually well maintained, immaculate. You walk in, it's like sliding door openings,
Hmm.
almost. And
Yeah,
so those are nice, but they are a little pricey. Um, but if you're just getting started and you need your first, say, 10 clients or something like that, maybe that's completely viable. And they were month to month too, right? In terms of their leasing.
the first place
Or week to
was
week, week to week.
it was you pay week to week.
Ah,
The you sign a 1 year
oh, okay.
at the minimum. It's a year. Yeah,
Okay. But still a
yeah,
year, hopefully you're in business still for a year. Um,
yeah.
and then that, gives you time to build up your client base. And then if you don't love the spot, then find a new one while you're, still available. You're still taking in clients, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
Ah. So, what other immediate marketing help could you use right now?
Well, that's the problem. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I mean,
I don't
with
know. That's
yeah.
it's so new and so
Yeah,
foreign
yeah,
to me, that every bit of information is brand new information to me.
sure.
And so, for where I am at, I will I will plead dumb. And you know, I really am relying on a lot of help from friends and family to say, "Have you done this? Oh, you should
Yeah.
do this," because what's weird for me is not just knowing what to do, but knowing the sequence and the time
Mm,
frame, and trying not to waste any of this time that I have right now
right,
to to, to be ready and to be the most successful.
right.
And I know it's going to start slow. I know it's going to take time to build a clientele,
Yep.
um, but I just want to know what the next right step is, and if that's five things that I focus on, if it's one thing, okay. um but I think for me right now, like you said, get the name
Hmm.
down, commit to a name. We did work on a website as part of our senior project at school,
Cool.
so I have the bones of a website
Good.
started. um uh you helped me with the business plan, so I've got a model of pricing and services. And it's really just for me trying to schedule my time right, of
Yeah.
studying, um acquiring the supplies that I need,
Right.
and then finding the space and getting all of the obviously getting my license, but then then
Yeah.
it's the insurance and all of that. So there's just such a weight of things I know that will have to get done before I get in and start. And I'm just trying to get these ducks in a row, and not miss anything. So yeah, I feel like I'm a newborn in the business, and so the baby steps are where I am.
Well, the nice
Um,
thing is you have no luggage. You have no baggage, right? So
yeah,
you can
yeah,
start with from a very, and you know, being coming into this later in your life, um, gives you an opportunity to say, "Oh, I don't have time for any kind of bullshit," right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, what if we? I think like one of the things people are going to want to know is, so in terms of like the class makeup for how much percent, what percentage was male and what percentage was female?
Based on that school, I would
Yeah,
say 85%
yeah. So
female.
you're a minority. Welcome to the club.
Oh yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah.
but
Uh,
like that could be a positive or a negative.
mhm.
And so if it is a negative, then you have to find a way to address, hey Arlie, you
Yeah,
have to find a way to address that part of it.
yeah,
And then if it's a positive, then no sweat, you can lean on it. But when it comes to who you are, and what I would profess is like, oh, the way you're going to build trust is because people like you. They like coming to you, they
yeah.
trust you, and they have an authenticity with you that, I mean, literally, these people are going to be bearing their skin to you. So
Mhm.
it can be it can be an intimidating thing if not handled properly, right? So
Yeah.
we want to make sure like your story is super clear, and
Mhm.
if that means uh you coming a little bit more forward about who you are
Mhm.
in relation to the community and as a whole, that I don't want to like recruit your kids, but kinda. I mean,
Mhm.
to know that you are like an established member of society, you know, coaching soccer, doing these things,
Mm.
volunteering at school, and it's that kind of in personality brand enrichment that you have to do a little bit of, just to
Yeah.
like show up and say, I'm not a creep, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
and, and I mean, most people aren't going to assume you are, but you just want to you just want to take it off the table. It's like, no, this is not that at all. This is about helping people, and you loving what you're doing, that part of it, and the loving people around you and the loving environment that you come from, all can kind of benefit. Hello, Hori, get the ball. Yeah, has has a lot more to do with how people start to work with you, right?
Yeah. And
Okay.
that, in pest control, that was easier to because I was going to people's houses.
Yeah.
And so when I would talk to them, if they opened up at all, then I had that opportunity to share about myself and my family.
Yep.
And that's how I got so many referrals was people just felt that personal connection to me, and they would get somebody else coming out to their house and they would say,
Yeah.
well, where's Derek? Is if he's on vacation, just wait till he gets back because I don't want you to send anybody else. And so we developed really deep relationships with my customers, and um, you know, it's it's what I want in my new career. It just
Yeah.
like you said, but it's going to come in a completely different way, and
It,
there's
well,
a little bit more work on my side to do.
well, as long as I feel like you are open to it, like that, it's not just business, but it's personality, it's relationships. Um, Once you kind of identify that part of it and are comfortable with that, then that's something we might want to express through marketing as well. So through
Yeah.
social, through the website, whatever, um, that when people do look you up, it's very clear
Mm.
the um, the quality of your person comes through.
Absolutely. And I've noticed that in some of my friends' websites. One of the lady I stayed with, actually, uh, Krista, she's a part-time instructor and she
Mm.
has her own practice and she's building up her clientele. She's not full-time, so she teaches at the academy. And you go onto her website, and if you've met her for a day and you look at her website, you're like, yeah, that's Krista. Yeah, I feel it. And so that's absolutely something I want to,
Yeah,
kind of burst out of
right.
those opportunities to let people know who I
Well,
am and that there's a place.
and that's one of the reasons you get into business for yourself, is to be able to express who you are, right? So,
Hmm. Yeah,
um, we are getting close to time. So you have homework for next time,
I
or
do.
before, and um, hopefully that helps. This helps today. Hopefully, it's never about me. I want to make sure like people know it's not. I'm not doing this for me per se. I really, really do want to help folks. And so I'm really appreciative that you kind of joined on, and all the technical issues resolved, and then we were able to start sailing. But uh, yeah, we'll be in definite contact. Um, I'm going to open up the chat stream if anybody wants to chat. Uh, there's Alice. Yeah, we know about the audio. So thank you. Uh, if you do want to chat, go ahead and sign into or be on Yahoo. That's the best way. Um, but if not, that's okay too. You can just tell us, how we did. That's always valuable.
Yes.
And if you think this is a value, please, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. The Patreon, I'll post that up. Thank you, Alice. So the Patreon, you can become a member for as little as $5. We are going to meet every Thursday, 12, except for holidays and if I can have to skip. But the next week, I've got. Oh, here we go. Moto Media. I'm really happy to hear about enthusiastic business owners willing to take a chance on this point in their careers. Thank you. Alice, subscribe. Thank you. Next week, we're going to feature a personal trainer. So we're going to enjoy talking with her about that. Derek, my man, I'm so glad you did this for me. I appreciate everybody who joined in live and sat through the issues. But now we've got it down, and we're going to rock and roll in the future. Yeah. So thank you all.
Thank you, Derek. I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, you too.
Bye.